Hello, everybody. This afternoon we are getting sassy and crafty, literally. I'm going to show you how to use the Chalk Couture Paste and Peel technique on this gorgeous cookbook stand featuring the Stir It Up transfer that says exactly what we're all thinking. About to stir up some shit. Grab your paste, grab your sass. Let's do this. Hey, everybody. Whitney with Girl Friday Crafts. Happy Friday. Super excited, as always, to be with you on Friday. I am changing up this project just a little bit. First of all, I want to get to my channel on my phone so that if I can better see questions or comments, but I can talk and
Screenshots
I can talk and do that at the same time, right? I can multitask. So when I originally put this project together, what I wanted to do was to use the kitchen conversions transfer that was released at the same time as the cookbook stand. So here's the cookbook stand. We'll put that together. And the kitchen conversions transfer is beautiful. I love it. But it's a long story, but I decided to make a bit of a transition, lean into the snark and the sass that is sort of me. And I pulled out this Chalk After Dark transfer. So there's two options here that I think would look cute on the cookbook stand. The Bitch I Will Cut You. That would be better suited, I think, for a hot mess because of the pizza. But then there's this about to stir up some shit. This design itself lends itself easily to a paste and peel, and I also think it's pretty funny. You can also do it in some very neutral colors, which is great because then you don't have to worry if you're gifting it somebody's color palette in their kitchen or something like that. You can stay on the neutrals. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I am going to switch my camera view so that you can just see my workspace here. This is my second live for the day. I was on Whatnot earlier, and I will show you all what I made on Whatnot before we end our time together. Let me get everything positioned here. There we go. Make sure you all can see and make sure I stay in camera, which sometimes I have a hard time doing. I will realize after the fact that I've been working off camera for a while. So this is the Chalk Couture cookbook stand. This came out actually last year, I think. And then we're going to keep my cardboard. I keep my cardboard. I use this for all kinds of things, but I like to, when I'm inking on t-shirts, I like to use these, honestly, instead of the ink mats. They're just a little easier to maneuver. And now we're going to have to figure out if I remember how to put this thing together. Let's see. This goes like this. See, I'm already doing it. Y'all can't see me. I've got this little metal piece that goes in the holes right here. And then it goes like, does it go like that? No, that's not right. I'm going to have to look this up, y'all. I'm so sorry. I haven't done one of these in a long time. And now I don't remember how it goes together. And I don't want to show you wrong. I also don't want to, craft it wrong. Oh, right. Okay. That's how it goes. Okay. So then this slides in there so that it leans back like that, if that makes sense. You kind of have to mess with it so that it gets flat. So it sticks out on the back like that. And then this holds your cookbook. So this the base in this is going to be your bottom. So when we're chalking, we're going to chalk up here. Is really kind of the whole point of me showing you how to put that together. Okay, I'm going to put that to the side because we don't need that. Now, you could paint this. It's a very nice smooth wood. It's very pretty. But you could absolutely paint it if you wanted to add some more color to it. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And we're going to open up this transfer. Now, this is from our Chalk After Dark line. There is a link to get to those products in the video description. This came out last year. I'm not really sure, honestly, where we're going with it. Oh, no. This particular transfer came out early this year. I'm not sure where we're going with it. There's not a lot in the After Dark line that's on the website right now. But you can go check that out. And if you like these things, make sure to let Chalk Couture know that you like them and you want more of them. And we're going to use this one right here. So I'm just going to cut this out using my transfer scissors. I've gone back and forth over time about cutting apart my transfers or not. I'm back to cutting them apart now, especially if I'm live or teaching an in-person class because it's just a little bit easier. And then we're going to just put that on there like that. Now, paste and peel looks intimidating when you kind of see somebody do it, especially on a more complicated project. And it took me a while to get brave enough to try that out. Now, if you've watched any of my videos before, or if you see me live on Facebook, you know that my favorite way to put multiple colors into a Chalk Couture design is Hot Mess. Not only is it the easiest in my opinion, I also love what the finished product looks like, especially in florals. I like it in particular on our acrylic surfaces. But sometimes I want that distinct color separation in all of the design elements. And so paste and peel or watercolor, depending on, straighten that up just a little bit, depending on the design, are the ways to do that. Now you can absolutely, and I did this before at the beginning, you can take your transfer, you can put down one color, you can pull the transfer up, wash it, let it dry, put it back down, and do your next color. I'm going to actually fuzz this a little more, and I might actually use some surface wax on that. That was sticking quite a bit when I was pulling that up. We'll see. But that's one way you can do multiple colors, not do it all at one time. And I did that in the early stages of my chalk life. And then I got brave enough to start the paste and peel. And again, like I said, I still like Hot Mess the best. But I'm getting more comfortable with paste and peel. I'm liking it more, how it comes out, how it looks when I'm done. And so I thought, especially as we're coming into holiday season, people are starting to think about their gift giving and planning for that it would be worth coming on and just with a simple design and just a few colors, demonstrate paste and peel. So we're going to start. And this works for any this technique is the same whether you're using paste or ink. It works the same for any kind of design. You're just going to go in sections. So we're going to do the letters first. Now I'm just using our black velvet. And we're going to squeegee off that excess. And find something to put my squeegee on. And then we're going to pull the transfer off of just that black paste. Nothing else. We're going to leave all the rest of it down. Use my detail tool end here. I'm just going to pull that up nice and slow. Okay. So there we've got that. And then you're just going to let the transfer drop. Don't push it back down necessarily on top of that black. You're just going to let it fall where it falls. If it goes all the way back down, that's fine. If it doesn't, that's fine too. Where we are going to push it back down is just the very edge of the design that we still need to chalk. You can use your fingers. If you have a detail tool, you can use that squeegee edge of the detail tool, anything like that. Now, we're going to use black again for the handle of the whisk. So I'm going to go ahead, since I have that out, we're going to go ahead and do that. But I'm going to use this edge of my detail tool for that. Sorry, I'm thinking. Actually, no, we're not going to do that yet. We're going to move on. I'm going to work my way. Well, so there's no rhyme or reason to how you work your sections. That is your choice. You figure out what's comfortable for you. And so sometimes I have to pause a minute and think about how I want to do this. So we're going to do the wooden spoon next, and we're going to do all of that, but a little bit at a time. And this is going to make more sense once I do it. But we are going to also use the edge of my detail tool. So I'm going to use espresso, just a dark brown, so that this really stands out on this white. And we're going to come along kind of at the edge. Of where the whisk handle crosses over the wooden spoon. And this detail tool gives you a nice small squeegee end. And I like the fact that you can hold it like a pencil. And so when you're working in small spaces, trying to make sure that you don't get a paste color where you don't want it, or an ink color where you don't want it, depending on what you're doing. It gives you that control to be able to do that. Now on this, we're going to take it and we're going to kind of pull up from the center, nice and slow, just to get off of that handle. And we're going to push that back down. And then we're going to do this middle part. Now this takes practice. Getting comfortable with it takes practice. Figuring out how to think through the sections takes a little bit of, not practice, but it takes doing this a couple of times. So what I highly recommend, if you're very new to paste and peel and it makes you nervous, is get some inexpensive surfaces. Use something that you already have at home. Go on to the Chalk Spot on the Chalk website and look at some of those $5 or less surfaces and grab a transfer that's pretty simple in the design and just practice and just do like 2 colors. And get comfortable with it. Get comfortable pulling up the transfer off of the surface without pulling it all the way off, so that you leave a little, you leave the rest of your design down. Figure out, what kind of size squeegees you might need. I cut my squeegees up all the time to give me different sizes, or if you need a multi-tool, which is this one right here that also has this smaller squeegee edge. We are waiting on the detail tools actually to get restocked. So that's that. And then we're going to do the handle of the wooden spoon. And I'm going to use the detail tool for this part that's kind of right next to this little stirrer. And then we're going to use a squeegee for the rest because it can cover more space. We don't need to be quite so careful. Okay, so that's that. And then we're just going to take this. This is a mini squeegee that I just cut in half. Got more room to move here. Okay. We're going to squeegee off that excess. And I am done with the espresso, so I'm going to drop that squeegee into my water. So I have some water off to the side. And then we're going to pull this up this way, nice and slow. Just focusing on getting the transfer off of this part of the wooden spoon. So there you've got that. Okay. And then you basically just repeat that process with all of your different colors and whatever sections. So we're going to go ahead and do the stir because we're doing that all in one color. And because that piece is easily accessible all at one time, that'll be easy to do. We're going to use my detail tool again. So I'm just taking a paper towel and cleaning off the edge of that. And for the stir, we're going to use ash. This color just came out with the fall release. It's a nice dark gray. I love it. I love storm and I love grayish. But having a dark gray in our color options is great. We're going to use the detail tool right here in this section where the gray and the brown meet. We're going to do that part first, and I'm pushing down so that the paste goes through, but I'm almost just dabbing it really, which is also why I like the detail tool and the multi-tool, because you can kind of do that. And now that we've gotten out of where the gray and the brown meet, I can use the detail tool the way I do a squeegee. Now I do find one thing I have to be careful about for me is that when I'm using these tools and I'm kind of dabbing like I did in this middle section, sometimes I push a little bit too hard and I get a little bit of a bleed. So hopefully I did not get that today. But that is something to be mindful of when you're using that kind of dabbing motion. You can't cover as much surface area at one time with the detail tool, but it is nice for these smaller, working in smaller sections where you don't want your colors to mix. Okay, so we're going to pull this up kind of sideways here, nice and slow. The reveal is always the best part. No bleed there. That's good. There's some distressing automatic already in this transfer, which is nice because that's if you do have a spot where you miss a little bit or mess something up, it's not so easily noticeable. Now, I did move my transfer just a little bit. I think I have it lined back up right. The only place that would be really noticeable is where the handle on the whisk crosses over the handle on the wooden spoon. If I didn't get it lined up right, and that is kind of problematic, that's actually kind of easy to fix. Okay. So we're going to use the ash again for the whisk. And I want to use the squeegee. Actually, no, we'll use the multi-tool. A little bit bigger than the detail tool, but still gives me that pencil control. And I don't have to be quite so careful up at the top here because the stir is ash as well. So we're not putting two different colors right next to each other. You can cover a little bit more area with the multi-tool. We're going to come down in here. And I'm trying to squeegee off a little excess here. And then we're going to pull this up. Again, nice and slow. I'm trying to watch on my camera view how that looks. Here we go. And then all we have left to do is the handle. Drop my multi-tool in the water. So I've got this. I have another detail tool. I have multiple of these. And we're going to use this for the most part to do the handle. We're just going to do the handle in black. I'm going to move this down towards me just a little bit. And again, where this black Actually, I'm going to turn this around so I can see it a little better. Where this black meets up with the ash, I'm just going to dab a little bit, and I need to get a little bit of paste kind of on the corner. There we go. And just sort of carefully filling in the negative space here. Got a little bit too much there, so we're going to spread that out down at the bottom. You can turn this detail tool kind of on its side and use those little corners. This isn't as much of an issue because it's not butting up against this right-hand side. Isn't as much of an issue because it's not butting up against any other color. And then we're pretty well in the clear. Down here. Turn this back around so we can see it. We're going to peel all of this all the way up. We're going to take the whole transfer off. You can rock the transfer back and forth if you find that it's sticking a little bit to your surface. And there we go. There is your paste and peel. I can see it. I'm not sure how much you can see on the video, the different colors, to be honest, but I can see it, but it's very subtle, which I think is really nice. Again, you know, if you're gifting and you want to stay in a kind of a neutral color, you can do that. The other thing about this cookbook stand is, you know, you can use it kind of in a double-sided way. So you could put a design, well, I can't because I just got black paste on that somehow. Okay, we're gonna have to get that off. I just had it on my fingers. You can put a design on that. And there's that, and you can spray seal that with some Rust-Oleum, clear spray paint, anything like that will work to protect that paste from getting scratched. And then let's put this together again real quick so y'all can kind of see what that looks like. I'll come back over onto my forward-facing camera. I'm just gonna slide that in, and you can kind of adjust it however you want. This is kind of, I don't think I can get it in a way where y'all can actually see it. That's a little crooked. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over. I'm going to bring my front-facing camera back into our frame here. There we go. And there we go. And so it'll tilt back just a little bit to hold that cookbook. And like I said, you can cover that with some Rust-Oleum or clear spray paint to protect it. If you have gator hide, that'll work. And I might actually use the gator hide because then I can just cover that design area. Okay, that's it. Thank you all so much. If you have any questions, just throw them in the comments. I'll make sure to come back and answer. Links to all the products are in the video description. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll be back next Friday. Don't know what I'm doing yet, so if you have any suggestions or requests, please let me know that too. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye.